They are holding innocent people that were took from music festivals and from their homes, children, kids. They took them. They didn't let the Red Cross, anyone see them. They treat them in inhuman conditions, and you want to give these people state? If I want to have a future for my kids, if I want to have a chance to a long-lasting peace in the Middle East, you can't do it when you have a new generation of terrorists growing up each time. We all saw the videos from October 7th, where you could see the people in Gaza that weren't from Hamas, weren't terrorists, hitting the hostages, spitting on them, celebrating everything.
I don't think there is anything at all to suggest that the attitude and the antipathy and the ill intent and, frankly, the genocidal intent towards Jews in Gaza is the preserve of just a few. I actually think it's the vast majority.
I always said that you can't reward terrorism. You can't send a message that terrorism is profitable or worthwhile, because in the end you will find it in your own guard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that really helped me so much, like seeing how like people don't even treat them as terrorists or terror organization, like speak about them as freedom fighters or something like that. They are holding innocent people that were took from music festivals and from their homes, children, kids. They took them. They didn't let the Red Cross, anyone see them. They treat them in inhuman conditions, and you want to give these people state? Like, first of all, make sure that someone else will take over Gaza. Someone who cares about the people who live there, someone who wants to live in peace, someone who wants to have better education and tourism in Gaza, not someone who wants to destroy Jewish people and he don't mind to die on his way. In this kind of situation, you can't give a country to this kind of people. After this will be solved, after you will have a solution to the Gaza citizen, because they also deserve it. They don't want a country that will be managed by Hamas. Trust me, the Gaza citizens, they don't want it.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
How do you know? Because I don't agree with that. This is your interview, and I'm not going to enter into a debate. I want people to hear from you.
That's a good question.
So my question is, how do you know that? We've heard this.
I don't know it. I have to believe it if I believe that peace is achievable. If I want to have a future for my kids, if I want to have a chance to a long-lasting peace in the Middle East and here, then you can't do it when you have a new generation of terrorists growing up each time. In some points, people should want to live in peace, and I really hope that in the end, they also want to. I don't believe anyone are terrorists. I don't believe that anyone are bad.
But everyone. You're saying that you don't believe that everyone is bad.
Exactly. Okay. But if you take a baby ever since he was born, and you teach him how to kill and how to murder, and how when he will die he will be rewarded, then that's what he believed in. That's just simple as that. So it has to start with better leadership and education, and then I'm sure the other generation they will probably want to live in peace, and then it will be achievable, but it will take time. It's not something that happened in a day or two. It's a process. So and when you ask me about Palestinian state, then I will tell you, I really don't know. I have no opinions about it. Give them a state. I don't care. If it will give us peace, give them a state. But not to the terrorists there. Right. To the people who wants to live in peace. Not the people that go ahead and say to the whole world, we want to kill all Jewish people. If you give them a country, then...
So is it fair to say that your thoughts about them is more of a hope than a reality? I want the listeners to know what you truly think.
Yeah.
Because I disagree. So, for example, if I was listening now, and again, I'm not going to have a debate with you now because you've got so much. Let's do the debate later, though. The later debate
okay.
when you're up and
at your
best.
I think we agree on most things, because I also, we also the
don't
videos.
Get distracted. Don't get distracted by that, because if you're going to talk about seeing videos, please talk about that. But don't let me distract you from your message.
No, because we are agree on some on most things, because we all saw the videos from October 7th, where you could see the people in Gaza that weren't from Hamas, weren't tourists, hitting the hostages, spitting on them, celebrating everything. I mean, seeing that, you understand that these people grew up on hating you. But I still, and I have to believe in it, of course. Okay. I still believe that.
Do you understand me disagreeing with that?
But let me ask you. Let me ask you something else, because it's interesting.
Yeah.
You believe that there is a way that a generation of people that would like to live in coexistence be there if there wasn't terror organization that would force them to live that way?
No. I don't believe, but can I tell you why I don't believe that? I don't believe it for one particular reason. There are many reasons, but I'll just give one, because again, this is a conversation for people to learn from you and to hear from you. A lot of people will say that the Gazans cheer for Hamas because they're under the jackboot of Hamas terror. That Hamas are the terrorist organization and they force the Gazans into this very difficult situations. And if the Gazans don't comply, that they will be killed or tortured or whatever punishment Hamas would want to mete out. Okay, interesting theory. But do you know who would win the election in Yehuda v'Shomron, Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, if elections were called today where Hamas do not rule? Do you know who would win those elections? If there was an election in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, between Hamas and Fatah, the Palestinian Authority today, and Hamas does not rule the West Bank, does not rule Judea and Samaria, do you know which party would win? Do you know who most Palestinian Arabs want to vote for? They want Hamas to rule. They're not being tortured by Hamas. Hamas doesn't rule that area. Palestinian Authority rules that area. Right. So I think I could speak about this a lot, and I have done on the media many, many times during the time of this crisis, but I don't think there is anything at all to suggest that the attitude and the antipathy and the ill intent and frankly the genocidal intent towards Jews in Gaza is the preserve of just a few. I actually think it's the vast, vast, vast majority, and I actually think that it's very dangerous that they're still living proximate to our border, because they're recruiting from within their civilians now, very, very readily. They're recruiting from within their civilians, and so I'm concerned about that. But I don't want us to get too distracted. So my answer is no. I think that the Gazan issue should be resolved beyond the borders of Gaza. I think it should be in Egypt, and I think that the relocation of the Gazans at their will is something that the international community should be supporting. And I'll just say one last thing about it, and then I want to move back to you. I'm sorry to digress, but in any other war where there's a mass displaced population, such as we have inside the Gaza Strip now, as a result of their leadership and what their leadership did, there's a 1-2 punch that the international community throws. It's a combination of measures. The first thing that it does is it implores and beseeches and begs neighboring and non-neighboring states to absorb the displaced. So if you think about the Syrian civil war, I think it's about 9 million Syrians who have been absorbed by Turkey, a neighboring state, and by other countries, including, for example, Germany, a non-neighboring state. And once those states absorb the displaced, the international community then applauds them and thanks them for doing so. Same, by the way, with Ukraine. Poland, a neighboring state, absorbs them. Israel, a non-neighboring state, absorbs them. The international community implores us to do so and then applauds us for doing so. It's only in the case of Gaza, when the Egyptians were very responsible for what happened to us on that terrible day, that the international community says, not only is anyone who accepts them guilty of participating in ethnic cleansing, but uniquely the Gazans, and like the Syrians, and like the Ukrainian people, and like any other displaced people in a time of war, that the Gazans uniquely want to stay exactly where they are in the misery that their leadership brought upon them. And that is total hypocrisy. And I don't agree with it. And so I think that if you are a fan of the Gazans, not you, but if one is a fan of the Gazans, the level of destruction in Gaza is very extensive. I believe it's equally justified. You shouldn't want them there. And if you're not a fan of the Gazans, that's me. I fall into that category. I'm not a great lover of the Gazan people. I don't want them there either, because I think that as long as they're on our border, they're a danger to our people. That's my honest thought. Now, I've answered. I hope I've answered it. Did I answer your question?
Too good, I think.
Okay.